The text came at 2:17 a.m. Need $800 for rent by tomorrow or I'm getting evicted. You know Mom can't handle this stress with her condition. I stared at my brother's message, my thumb hovering over the transfer button in my banking app. This would be the third emergency this month. The electric bill I'd paid last week. The car repair the week before. My checking account balance glared back at me, wanting $249.37. My own rent was due in 3 days. I put my phone down without responding, and something strange happened. A weight lifted from my chest. The guilt was still there, but for the first time in my adult life, another feeling was stronger. Rage. Pure, clarifying rage. That night, I didn't transfer the money. Instead, I blocked my brother's number, then my mother's, then my sister's. One by one, I severed the digital tethers that had drained not just my bank account, but my sense of self for 26 years. By morning, my phone had exploded with messages from extended family, aunts, cousins, even my grandmother, all with the same refrain. How could you do this to your family after everything they've done for you? I deleted those messages too. Then I changed my phone number. They called it abandonment. I called it survival. Let me take you back to where it all began and why cutting off my entire family was the only way I could finally start living. My name is Olivia Chen, and for as long as I can remember, I've been the family ATM. The reliable one, the responsible one, the one who would always say yes when everyone else said no. It started small when I was just 16. My mother, Diana, needed money for groceries. My father had walked out a year earlier, leaving her with 3 kids and a mountain of debt. I'd just gotten my first job at a local diner, making $7.25 an hour plus tips. Just until I get back on my feet, she promised, taking half my first paycheck. You're so responsible, Liv. Not like your brother and sister. I beamed at the praise. In a household where attention was scarce, being the responsible one became my identity, my value. I didn't realize then that I was being groomed for a lifetime of financial servitude. By 18, I was working 2 jobs while attending community college. My paychecks went directly to my mother, who would manage the household finances. Whatever was left, which wasn't much, went into a savings account for my education. Or so I thought. When I was accepted to State University with a partial scholarship, I discovered the savings account had been emptied. We had no choice, my mother explained, not quite meeting my eyes. Tyler needed braces, and Jessica had that school trip. You wouldn't want them to miss out, would you? Besides, you got that scholarship. You'll figure it out. You always do. I did figure it out. I took out student loans. I worked 30 hours a week on top of a full course load. I lived on ramen and coffee, sharing a cramped apartment with 3 roommates while my mother, brother, and sister continued living in our 3-bedroom house, the mortgage for which had mysteriously become my responsibility during my sophomore year. The bank made a mistake, my mother had claimed. They're saying I missed payments, but I know I sent them. Anyway, they're threatening foreclosure. It's just $1,500, Olivia. I'll pay you back once this misunderstanding is cleared up. She never paid me back. Not for that, not for anything. By the time I graduated with a degree in accounting, I was $62,000 in debt, $45,000 in student loans, and $17,000 in family loans. That everyone conveniently forgot weren't gifts. But I had a good job waiting for me at Anderson & Burke, a respected accounting firm in Chicago. Starting salary, $65,000, more money than anyone in my family had ever made. I remember the day I received my offer letter. I'd called my mother immediately, bursting with pride. "That's wonderful, sweetheart," she'd said, and I could hear the smile in her voice. "You know, this is perfect timing. The roof needs replacing, and Tyler's tuition deposit is due next week." Just like that, my achievement became the family's windfall. Not once did she ask if I had plans for my first real paycheck. Not once did she suggest I focus on paying down my substantial debt. In her mind, in all their minds, my money was family money, and for the next 4 years, that's how it remained. "You can't keep living like this," Michaela, my best friend and colleague, told me over happy hour drinks one Friday. "You make more than I do, but you're living like you're broke." I stirred my single happy hour priced margarita, the only drink I could justify that week. "It's just temporary. Once Tyler graduates and Jessica gets that promotion she's up for..." "Girl, stop." Michaela put her hand over mine. "You've been saying temporary since I met you. Your brother has changed. Majors 3 times in 5 years. Your sister has been about to get promoted since Obama was president. And your mother..." "Don't start on my mom," I warned. "You know it's complicated." "Is it, though?" She leaned forward. "Because from where I'm sitting, it looks pretty simple. They ask, you give. They need, you provide. They want, you sacrifice." "They're family," I said automatically. "That's what family does." "No, Liv, that's what you do. When's the last time any of them helped you?" I opened my mouth to respond, then closed it. The truth was, I couldn't remember a single instance where my family had prioritized my needs over their wants. "They're counting on me," I said finally. "Mom's health isn't good, and without my support..." "Your mom's health issues seem to flare up every time you try to set a boundary," Michaela observed. "Have you noticed that pattern?" I had, but acknowledging it felt like betrayal. "And what about your health?" she pressed. "When's the last time you went on vacation? Had a date? Bought yourself something nice without feeling guilty? You're 26. Going on 50, Liv. You're missing your own life." Her words stung because they hit too close to home. I was missing my life. My apartment was a Spartan studio, while my mother and siblings lived in a house I largely paid for. My wardrobe consisted of basic work clothes while my sister flaunted designer labels on Instagram. I drove a 10-year-old Honda with suspicious noises coming from the engine, while my brother had somehow acquired a new Jeep on his part-time barista salary. "I just got promoted," I said quietly. "Senior accountant, comes with a $12,000 raise." Michaela's eyes widened. "That's amazing. We should be celebrating. When does it take effect?" "Next month." "But..." I hesitated. "I haven't told my family yet." "Why not?" "Because I'm thinking about keeping it for myself," I admitted, the words feeling foreign and almost sinful on my tongue. "Paying down my debt, maybe even looking for a better apartment." Michaela nodded encouragingly. "That's called being an adult. Liv, normal, healthy adults prioritize their financial well-being, but they're expecting me to help with Tyler's graduation party, and Mom wants to remodel the kitchen, and Jessica needs dental work. And you need a life," Michaela said firmly. "Look, I'm not saying cut them off completely, but maybe it's time to establish some boundaries. Your raise is the perfect opportunity. They don't know about it, so they can't miss what they never had." It seemed so simple when she said it. A secret raise, a fresh start, a life that was mine, not theirs. Should have known it wouldn't be that easy. Secrets have a way of revealing themselves at the worst possible moments. In my case, it happened at Sunday dinner, a monthly obligation where I would drive to the suburbs, listen to everyone's problems, and inevitably leave with fewer dollars in my account. "Congrats on the promotion, superstar," Tyler announced, as I walked through the door, catching me completely off guard. My blood ran cold. "How did you..." "Instagram," Jessica chimed in. "Michaela posted a picture of you two celebrating. So proud of my bestie on her big promotion. Very touching." I made a mental note to adjust Michaela's privacy settings, and possibly revoke her phone privileges. "Why didn't you tell us?" my mother asked, emerging from the kitchen with a suspiciously expensive-looking new haircut. "We should be celebrating as a family." "I was going to," I lied. It just happened last week. Well, this calls for champagne, Tyler declared, pulling out a bottle that I had no doubt would end up on my invisible tab. Throughout dinner, I felt like prey surrounded by predators. They were sizing up my new worth, calculating their cuts. So, what's the damage? Jessica asked between bites of lasagna. What kind of raise are we talking about? The "we" wasn't lost on me. It's modest, I deflected. Mostly title change. That's not what Anderson and Burke's Glassdoor says, Tyler countered. Senior accountants make at least 15 KRs more than associates. Of course he'd researched it. Tyler, who couldn't be bothered to finish a college degree in 5 years, had somehow found time to investigate exactly how much more he could extract from me. The kitchen contractor is coming Tuesday, my mother announced, changing the subject with all the subtlety of a bulldozer. I went with the quartz countertops. It was only $3,000 more than laminate, but these things are an investment in home value. A home I paid for but didn't live in. That's quite an upgrade, I managed, mental calculations already spinning. Mom, we should talk about the budget for this project. Oh, don't worry about that now, she waved dismissively. We're celebrating. Oh, and Tyler, tell Olivia your news. My brother grinned. I'm going to grad school. Got accepted to Northwestern's MBA program. Wow. I was genuinely surprised. Tyler had barely maintained a 3.0 GPA in his undergraduate years. I didn't even know you applied. I figured it was time to get serious about my future, he said, reaching for more garlic bread. Program starts this fall. And, my mother added proudly, they offered him a partial scholarship. Partial? I asked, already dreading the answer. 40% covered, Tyler confirmed. The rest is just loans. No big deal. No big deal. Because we all knew who would be paying those loans. And Jessica has news too, my mother prompted. My sister straightened in her chair. I'm finally moving out of Mom's. Found a cute condo downtown. 2 bedrooms, rooftop access. Very exclusive building. On a receptionist's salary? I couldn't help asking. Jessica's smile tightened. I have savings. The blatant lie hung in the air between us. Jessica had never saved $1 in her life. The translation was clear. I had just been volunteered as her personal housing subsidy. Something inside me snapped. Years of accumulated resentment crystallized into a single clarifying moment of truth. These people weren't family. They were parasites. And they would drain me dry if I let them. No, I said quietly. No what, dear? My mother asked, clearly not understanding that a revolution had just begun at her dinner table. No to all of it. My voice gained strength. No to the kitchen remodel. No to grad school tuition. No to condo down payments. 3 pairs of eyes stared at me in shocked silence. Liv, what are you talking about? Tyler was the first to recover. You can't just... I can. I am. I stood up, surprising even myself with the steadiness in my legs. I'm done being the family bank. My promotion is my promotion. My money is my money. After everything we've done for you, my mother's voice took on the wounded tone I knew so well. The guilt trip voice that had dominated my financial decisions for a decade. We raised you. We supported you. You wouldn't have that fancy job if we hadn't sacrificed to put you through school. I put me through school, I corrected. With loans I'm still paying off. Loans I had to take because you emptied my college fund. That was a family emergency, she countered. Everything is a family emergency with you. Tyler's braces, Jessica's school trip, your kitchen remodel. None of these are emergencies. They're choices. Choices you all make knowing I'll bail you. Out. You're being dramatic, Jessica scoffed. It's not like we're asking for handouts. We're family. We help each other. Really? When have any of you helped me? The question hung in the air unanswered. That's what I thought, I grabbed my purse and headed for the door. "If you walk out that door, don't bother coming back," my mother called after me, her ultimate threat rendered toothless by years of emotional manipulation. I turned to face them one last time. "I've given you over $130,000 in the past 4 years. I've paid your mortgage, your car repairs, your vacations, your emergencies, real and invented. I'm done. Figure it out yourselves." And then I left, the door closing on their stunned faces and my former life. The aftermath was predictable. First came the angry texts demanding explanations, then the tearful voicemails about betrayal, then the flying monkeys, extended family, members calling to tell me how selfish I was being, how my mother had taken to her bed with stress-induced hypertension, how Tyler might lose his grad school spot, how Jessica couldn't afford the condo she'd already put a deposit on. None of it moved me. I was empty of guilt, filled instead with a strange, almost giddy sense of freedom. 2 weeks after the Sunday dinner showdown, my grandmother showed up at my apartment unannounced. "You need to fix this, Olivia," she said when I opened the door. "Your mother is beside herself." "I'm not discussing this, Grandma," I replied, leaving the door open but walking back inside. "If Mom is in financial trouble, she needs to address her spending habits, not call her daughter." My grandmother followed me in, her expression stern. "Is that any way to talk about the woman who raised you, who sacrificed everything for you?" "What exactly did she sacrifice?" I asked, genuinely curious about the family mythology I was supposedly betraying. "When has she ever put my needs above her own?" "She gave you a stable home that I've been paying for since I was 20. She supported your education. By taking the money I saved for college, by making me work through school while Tyler got to have the full college experience without a job. You've always been the strong one," my grandmother said, as if that explained everything. "Your siblings needed more support." "No, they were given more support. There's a difference." I poured myself a glass of water, deliberately not offering her one. "You know what I realized, Grandma? Being the strong one was just code for the one we can exploit. You all decided I could handle it, so you kept piling on the burdens. That's a terrible thing to say about your family. Is it? Let me ask you something. How much money has Tyler borrowed from you over the years?" My grandmother's hesitation was telling. "He's had some difficulties." "How much from Jessica? From Mom?" "That's between them." "Exactly," I interrupted. "It's between them because they actually have boundaries with each other. I'm the only one who wasn't allowed to have boundaries." My grandmother's face softened slightly. "Olivia, I understand you're frustrated, but cutting off all contact, blocking their numbers, that's extreme." "It was necessary," I said simply. "I tried setting boundaries before. Remember last Christmas when I said I couldn't afford gifts for everyone? Mom took out a credit card in my name and ran up $3,000 in charges. Remember when I said I couldn't help with Jessica's car payment? She showed up at my office claiming it was a medical emergency. My grandmother had the grace to look uncomfortable. These weren't just stories. She'd witnessed many of these incidents herself. They left me no choice but to make a clean break," I continued. "I'm not doing this to punish them. I'm doing it to protect myself." "And what about your mother's medical bills? Her condition is remarkably selective in when it flares up," I finished for her. "Have you noticed she only has health crises when I try to establish financial independence? She's been dying conveniently for years, Grandma." My grandmother was quiet for a long moment. "What if they really do need help? What if there's a genuine emergency? Then they'll have to do what everyone else does, find a solution that doesn't involve exploiting their family members." I set down my glass. "I have my own life to live, Grandma, my own future to build. I've given them enough." She left shortly after, neither of us having changed our positions. But something in her eyes told me she understood more than she was willing to admit. That night, I got a single text from her. "I hope you know what you're doing." I did. 3 months passed. 3 months of blessed silence. 3 months of watching my savings account grow, of paying down my student loans, of breathing freely for, perhaps the first time in my adult life. I moved to a nicer apartment, one with an actual bedroom separate from the living area. A luxury I'd never allowed myself while supporting 4 adults. I started therapy, unpacking the years of financial, abuse and emotional manipulation. I even went on a few dates, though the muscle memory of checking my phone for emergency texts was hard to break. At work, I thrived. Without the constant drain of family crises, I could focus fully on my projects. I earned a reputation for thoroughness, for innovation. The firm's partners began to notice me, and then came the wedding invitation. Jessica was getting married, to an investment banker named Chad, apparently. The invitation was addressed to Olivia, Chen, and guest, as if we were casual, acquaintances rather than estranged sisters. No mention of the financial standoff, no acknowledgement of the months of silence. Just a cream-colored card with gold embossing requesting the honor of my presence at the Plaza Hotel for what was sure to be an extravagant celebration. I laughed when I opened it. Then I cried. Then I called my therapist. "They're testing you," Dr. Lin suggested during our emergency session. "This invitation is bait." For what? Reconciliation on their terms. They're acting as if nothing happened, inviting you back into the fold. But you can be certain that if you attend, the financial expectations will resume immediately. A wedding at the Plaza, I mused. I wonder who's paying for that. That's a question worth asking, Dr. Lin agreed. But the more important question is, what do you want to do about this invitation? I considered it carefully. Part of me, the part that had been conditioned for decades to prioritize family harmony above all else, wanted to accept. To pretend that the past few months had never happened. To slip back into the role of reliable Olivia, always there to help. But the stronger part, the part that had been nurtured through therapy and self-reflection, recognized the invitation for what it was. A trap. "I think I need to decline," I said finally. "But I should probably do it directly rather than just ignore it. Ghost the ghoster, right?" Dr. Lin smiled slightly. "Establishing clear communication about your boundaries is healthy. Just be prepared for the response." The next day, I crafted a brief, polite email to Jessica. "Thank you for the invitation to your wedding. I'm afraid I won't be able to attend. I wish you and Chad all the best for your future together. Olivia." The response came within minutes. "Are you serious? After everything I've done for you, you can't even show up for my wedding. Mom was right about you. You've always been selfish." I stared at the email, a strange calm washing over me. Everything I've done for you. The delusion was almost impressive in its completeness. In Jessica's mind, she was the generous one, and I was the taker. I didn't reply. There was no point. We existed in different realities, but Jessica wasn't done. Later that day, my phone rang with an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. "Olivia, it's Chad, Jessica's fiancé." This was unexpected. "Hello, Chad. Congratulations on your engagement." "Thanks." He sounded uncomfortable. "Look, I'm calling about the wedding. Jessica is really upset that you're not coming." "I understand that she's disappointed," I said carefully. "But my decision stands." "Is this about money?" he asked bluntly. "Because if it is, you should know that I'm covering the wedding costs. Your family isn't asking you to chip in." I almost laughed at the absurdity. Of course they hadn't told him the truth about our estrangement. "It's not about the wedding costs, Chad. It's about years of financial exploitation that I finally put a stop to. Has Jessica told you anything about our history?" A pause. "She said, you've had some disagreements about family support. That you used to help out but recently decided you couldn't anymore. Did she tell you I've given her family over $130,000 in the past 4 years alone? That I paid her car payment for 3 years? That I covered the down payment on her last apartment? That I'm still paying off student loans because my college fund was emptied for her and my brother's expenses? Silence. I didn't think so. I continued. This isn't about the wedding, Chad. It's about boundaries that I've set and that Jessica, all of them, refused to respect. I didn't know, he admitted. Jessica said your mother helped you through college and you were just paying her back. The lie was so brazen it took my breath away. That's not remotely true. But I'm not surprised that's what she told you. My family has a very creative relationship with reality when it comes to money. More silence then. I should probably talk to Jessica about this. You probably should, I agreed. And maybe check your credit report regularly after you're married. Just a friendly suggestion. After we hung up, I felt a twinge of guilt about potentially disrupting their relationship. But then again, didn't Chad deserve to know what he was marrying into? The Chen family financial vortex had nearly destroyed me. Perhaps I'd saved him from the same fate. The wedding came and went. I didn't attend. From the Instagram photos, it was indeed a lavish affair. Evidence that Chad had either ignored my warnings or decided to take his chances. A week after the wedding, I received a text from an unknown number. You were right. We need to talk. Chad. I never responded. Some lessons people need to learn for themselves. 6 months turned into a year of peace, a year of growth, a year of discovering who Olivia Chen was when she wasn't defined by her family's needs. I was promoted again, this time to manager. I started dating seriously, a kind, self-sufficient engineer named Michael, who had a healthy relationship with his own family. I even took a vacation, 2 weeks in Japan, something I'd dreamed of since college but had never allowed myself to pursue. And then, on a random Tuesday, I ran into my brother at a coffee shop. The universe has a strange sense of humor. Of all the coffee shops in Chicago, Tyler walked into mine, the one 3 blocks from my apartment, where I got my morning Americano before work. He spotted me before I could leave. Liv? He looked different, thinner, more kempt. The designer clothes were gone, replaced by simple jeans and a plain sweater. Tyler, I acknowledged, keeping my tone neutral. How are you? Good, actually. Really good. He hesitated. Can we talk? Just for a minute? Every instinct told me to refuse, to protect the peace I'd cultivated. But something in his expression gave me pause. 5 minutes, I conceded, gesturing to an empty table in the corner. Once seated, an awkward silence stretched between us. Tyler stared into his coffee cup as if it contained the script for this unexpected reunion. So, I prompted, you wanted to talk. He nodded. I owe you an apology. A big one. This was not what I'd expected. Go on. After you cut contact, everything fell apart, he said. Mom couldn't cover the mortgage. Jessica's condo fell through. My grad school plans imploded. It was chaos. I'm sure it was, I said, unmoved. Financial reality tends to be chaotic when you've been avoiding it. Exactly. He looked up, meeting my eyes directly. That's what I realized. We'd been living in a fantasy world, one where you were the magical solution to every problem. When that disappeared, we had to face reality for the first time. I said nothing, waiting. I dropped out of Northwestern before I even started, he continued. Got a real job instead. Tech support at first. Now I'm doing IT work for a healthcare company. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills. My bills. What about Mom and Jessica? Jessica moved in with Chad after the wedding. I think that relationship is on shaky ground, though. He started asking a lot of questions about family finances. A ghost of a smile crossed his face. I wonder where he got that idea. And Mom? She had to downsize. The house was foreclosed on eventually. She's in a 1-bedroom apartment now, living on her actual income. She's adjusting. I absorbed this information, surprised by my lack of guilt. These were the natural consequences of their choices, not my responsibility. Why are you telling me this, Tyler? He took a deep breath. Because I want you to know that you were right to do what you did. It was the wake-up call we all needed. Me especially. I didn't do it as a wake-up call, I clarified. I did it to save myself. I know. And you should have done it years earlier. He reached into his bag and pulled out an envelope. This is for you. I eyed it suspiciously. What is it? The beginning of repayment. He pushed it toward me. It's not much, just $2,000, but I'm going to pay back everything I can, even if it takes years. I didn't reach for the envelope. This feels like an attempt to reestablish contact. It's not, he insisted. Well, not in the way you're thinking. I'm not asking for anything. Live. Not money, not forgiveness, not even a relationship if you don't want one. This is about me taking responsibility for the first time in my life. I studied his face, looking for signs of the old Tyler, the manipulative charm, the calculated helplessness. Instead, I saw something new. Accountability. Keep the money, I said finally. Use it to build your emergency fund. That's worth more to me than repayment. He looked surprised. Are you sure? I'm sure. I glanced at my watch. I need to get to work. We both stood. The moment stretched awkwardly. Were we supposed to hug? Shake hands? Part with a nod? I miss you, Tyler said suddenly. Not your money. You. My big sister who used to help me with math homework and defended me when Dad was being a jerk. I miss that Liv. Something tightened in my chest. Not guilt, but a different kind of ache. The mourning of what could have been, what should have been, if money hadn't poisoned everything. I miss that too, I admitted. But I don't know if we can get back there. Probably not, he agreed. Too much has happened, but maybe we could find a new normal, one with actual boundaries and mutual respect. I considered it, the therapy sessions, the hard-won peace, the strength I'd developed by standing alone. I can't make any promises, I said, but my number hasn't changed. Text me sometime. Just don't ask for money. Tyler's laugh was genuine. Trust me, those days are over. I'd rather live in my car than go back to that way of life. We parted with an awkward half-hug. As I walked to work, I felt strange. Not regretful, but contemplative. Tyler seemed genuinely changed. Was reconciliation possible? Was it even desirable? I didn't have answers yet. But for the first time, I was considering the questions from a position of strength rather than obligation. Whatever I decided about Tyler, about any of them, would be my choice, not their manipulation. That night, I received a text. Thanks for the coffee and conversation. No pressure, no expectations. Just gratitude. Tyler. I read it several times, searching for hidden meanings or veiled requests. Finding none, I finally responded, "You're welcome." 2 words, not a commitment, not a rejection, just an acknowledgement. It wasn't forgiveness, and it wasn't reconciliation, but it was something I hadn't felt toward my family in a very long time. Possibility. The future remained unwritten. My boundaries remained firm. But the door I'd thought permanently closed had opened just a crack, not for them to come barging through with demands, but for us to potentially, cautiously, rebuild something new. Something based not on financial obligation, but on choice. Not on guilt, but on growth. And whatever happened next, I knew one thing for certain. I would never again pay the price of family with my soul.